Hi, my name is Teresa, and this is the Cosmic Brain Channel. And I was just thinking, I've been thinking about this pretty deeply the last couple weeks. Um, I've been on this journey for many decades, and the biggest thing that I ever did for myself is really digging into me, figuring myself out. There's so many different ways you can do it, and really being the star of my own movie. Um, and I think that's the biggest challenge here is being the star of your own movie. Uh, like good old Will Shakespeare, he says, all the world's a stage, and all the men and women are merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man at his time plays many parts, his acts being seven ages. Um, so interesting enough, I've gone down the rabbit hole of William Shakespeare and the narrative, like grew up thinking this is a dude. Is this a dude? Is he a real guy? Uh, then you start discovering the illusions here. And then you got to wonder, is this a real dude? Well, people have gone down that rabbit hole trying to discover who is William Shakespeare. And the narrative now is he was a collection of people. But regardless, it doesn't really matter, does it? Because this this is telling you that this place is theater. You want to call it a prison planet, a video game, a movie, whatever you want to say. It's not what you think it is. And I do think that we are in this idea of revelations of but it's really about revealing the illusion. And there are two illusions here. There's illusion on the grand stage of this world that you have to discover. And then there's the illusion of yourself and your life. And that is the most powerful thing that you can ever discover is to deal with your own clown show because they're going to distract you on the world stage. They got all manners of acts here, the music, the fanfare. It's crazy. No wonder I always hated clowns. The three ring circus, it's there. And but it's not just on the news or the movies. It's in your life. And I've been one of those people that seems I've been fairly grounded. I've had, we all have our clown show. But mine was a little more minimal. But I've witnessed some people have like some pretty extreme personal clown shows. I don't know what's going on there. Um, who knows how many people can go into the discussion of sentient souls, NPCs, sparks of life, whatever. You know what I've come to is anything's possible. And I really don't want to limit myself because that's what the clown shows wants to do. It wants you to limit yourself because ultimately the clown show is a distraction. It wants you to be distracted from yourself. The true quest of this journey is to know yourself. So we need to just constantly remember the distraction. And part of the distraction was going down the rabbit hole. And that's okay. It's fine. It did its purpose, right? Did you get stuck there too long? Some people get stuck there a long time. Some of those subjects will really draw you down. Um, but the purpose of the rabbit hole is to show you the illusion, right? That is the purpose of the rabbit hole. Um, once you go through some of those rabbit holes, see, like they're kind of all the same. They're rabbit holes. They're illusions. So at some point, you have to ask yourself a question. How are you showing up for yourself? Are you the star of your own show? And how can you do this? Um, how do you get through here and become the star of your own show? Well, isolation is a good one. The hermit's path is really what you need to do. You can go look at the tarot card and read about that. It's very powerful. You got to light your own way. And you might have very much a con show in your life, or maybe you're just a parent with 5 kids and work, and you're like, how the hell am I going to do that? Well, 5 minutes. If you can't find 5 minutes out of your day to be quiet, to find some peace, then that's on you, man. Like you got to be able to find 5 minutes. You're making excuses. And I used to know somebody who was pretty hard and fast about that whole thing about making excuses. Um, and we do that. We make a lot of excuses for why we can't, why we don't, why we procrastinate. But if you want to do it, you have will. You enact your will and you will do it. I guarantee it. You'll do it. It's all about your will. So at some point, I hope since you're here, that you've been going down the rabbit hole of you and whatever that means to you and learning to know yourself. And I will go and do some other videos on unusual things that I've done to figure out who I am, to gain some other wisdom of me. And at some point, when you're doing all this, there are things that you're going to have to let go. There are paradigms, narratives, ideologies, in the outside world, in the inside world, things that you do, people that you know, it's ideas. You're going to have to let some of that go. You can't hold on to it all. Whatever no longer serves you, let it go. And be nice to yourself. As somebody who's been doing this work, man, I'm like the hardest critic I've ever been. I can be really tough on myself. And so I have to remind myself to take it easy and have a laugh. Um, you know, have a good time with what I'm doing here. Because I'm finding answers for myself. And I'm finding the gift of what 2020 brings. Um, but I'm also trying to remember to have a good time and to figure out what I really want and what I really enjoy. And there are people in your life where it seems like right now is like a time where it's coming to a head, and you might have to let them go. But my good friend always says we can leave the door open and the light on. So, and consider maybe not in this lifetime. They might not come through that door in this lifetime, maybe on some other side of this. Maybe they'll make it before then. But if you need to let that person go because it's causing too much pain in your life, then it's time to let them go. Okay. And it doesn't mean we don't have empathy for others, but we have to remember we have to have empathy for ourselves. And this place, whatever it is, it loves the duality. It loves to give you two choices, the left or the right. That's the big politics one, right? the red and blue in America. It's all about two choices. And the thing that really kind of like got it for me was when I was hiking and I made it something that really made sense to me is like sometimes I would just randomly go off the path. And I decided that that was actually really important that I did that. That physicality of going off the path, even if it's for a few steps, to go look at a tree, do something weird like touch a tree, hug a tree, like talk to the tree, um, cut the corner of the path, just you know, uh, those little things, like when you do something physical like that, they create something and they create the possibility of other pathways. You're creating a new neural pathway. You're creating your own path, the hidden one. And that's really important to figure out what your path is, to give yourself another option. And that was something 2020 taught me something and all of that stuff. There's a lot of bullying going on here on the world stage. And and I figured out the bullying it stopped and it switched to a different kind. It just changes its scenario. Um, but I waited it out and it backed down on me. And it was very powerful for me because I started going, well, there's something else going on here. I'm a lot more powerful than I really thought I was. And then I started stepping into my power and working on creating my path. And I started really stepping into my intuition because I've always been fascinated with the occult and psychic abilities and all those fantasy adventure movies, superpowers, like the idea of that. Um, that's always been something I've enjoyed. And I think it was trying to tell me um, that whole thing where they say, we only use 10% of our brain. Well, that's because we haven't stepped into all of those abilities. And I think that's what's lying ahead. And I guarantee you've been using more and more of your brain power in these last couple of years. If you're listening to this, if you've gotten this far in this video and you're tapping to your intuition, you're doing stuff. And I've done a lot of really interesting things that I never thought I would do. Um, I've opened up my intuition and it's really guiding me. Um, I'm becoming clear and knowing what's really my voice inside my head, because there are, like the old cartoon where there's like the the little angel and the little devil talking back and forth. Yeah, we have that. Um, I just kicked both of them off my shoulders, right? And started listening to a voice that felt true to me, and guiding me. And that's something you're going to have to figure out. But it's amazing when you do that. The possibilities start really flowing. And that's the way I see this year. It's the real magic is happening when you tap into your intuition. Um, Lots of people can be your guru, can help you, give you ideas and guide you, but ultimately, you need to say yes to your intuition and you need to say yes to your life if you're going to create something magical. Um, and you can get stuck in that. You can get stuck in that whole rabbit hole of, is this a prison planet or whatever this place is? Or you can take charge because whatever time you're here, what do you want to do with it? What do you want for yourself? It's important to you. And go follow that. Go do something about it. Empower yourself. Because what I see here is a new beginning. And on Monday, the moon's day, I pulled this oracle card. So if you don't like cards, you don't have to continue with this. But I do like cards. I feel like they give us a message. And so for those of you who like to see this card and listen to my read on it, here we go. This was what I picked on Monday. Let's see. Give me a second here. I don't claim to be a professional. All right. New beginnings. And the whole purpose, the theme of new beginnings were coming up for me. And so I wanted to read this to you. It's a radiant sunrise. And I'm going to skip some narrative stuff that I don't agree with. In ancient cultures, the largesse of the rising sun represented hope and the understanding that life begins again, fresh and new. Responsible for the climate and weather of the earth, it is the symbol of birth and rebirth. It can also represent resurrection and a time of profound spiritual awakening. It symbolizes the end of darkness and the beginning of light, and an initiation of a whole new cycle. The sacred landscape wants you to know your life is expanding in profound and wondrous ways. New experiences and ideas are emerging. Vitality and wide open opportunities are at hand. Seize the day. This is a perfect time to begin that new project or give birth to an emerging idea. Timing is everything, and the time is now. Anything and everything is possible. Good fortune awaits you. The rising sun is the ultimate symbol of the Yang principle. Expanding power and activity, you are radiant and luminous. There is a glow within you that can be felt by all. And then yesterday was a new moon. And so it's interesting how I picked that card. And so I thought I'd pick another card for today. And I'm going to tell you, I was totally feeling that. Wow. Totally felt like a standstill. And there's something very powerful in the standstill. It's not fun. It's not the excitement that you might want. But it can be very powerful for you to get quiet and to be that hermit. So it's very appropriate that I would pick this. So standstill, swamplands. A swamp is a low-lying area with woody plants, shrubs, and trees where water collects and saturates the ground. During rainy season, swamplands become overwhelmed with water. The edge of the swamp is often a quagmire of mud and silt, but an abundance of plants and swamp insects dwell there. Because of the sticky nature of the mud, it is often impossible to walk through swamplands. Even trying to maneuver with a boat can be difficult and treacherous because of dense vegetation. However, there's a great value in swamplands. They act as natural flood control, as runoff can be temporarily stored in their basins. They keep the land around them from washing away. Lush vegetation provides a haven for nesting birds, waterfowl, as well as habitat to mammals such as the beaver. Freshwater swamps near the Tigris and Euphrates rivers in the Middle East are part of the Fertile Crescent and contribute to the fertility of the land for the earliest humans. The sacred landscape wants you to know it feels that some areas of your life have slowed down or even come to a standstill. You're right. Something is not progressing. Even if it seems that things are flowing, look beneath the surface. Perhaps something is immovable. The first step is to becoming unstuck is to acknowledge where you are. The soul loves the truth. In life, you can either say, there are no weeds, there are no weeds, or you can notice the weeds and begin pulling them out. Notice what isn't working in your life, and then taking slow, steady steps to unblock the barriers. In nature, when one is being sucked into mud, the worst thing to do is struggle. The best thing to do is slowly, carefully, one step at a time, extricate yourself. And so it's crazy. I never got this card before. And if you like these cards, it comes from Sacred Destiny Oracle by Denise Lynn. I find them very inspiring. And so I hope this helps you. And I'll see you another time. Thank you for listening.